Hey everybody, it's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate business into a life of freedom. And we have a fun episode today because we are unleashed, unchained, and off the hinge. We have no guests to rein us in. It's me and Greg only today. As we are recording this, it is the start of the second quarter of 2018. And so if you are in the future, greetings from the past. But if you're listening to this right now, we're going to talk a little bit about what you've been doing for your goals for the first quarter, and if you're feeling like you're behind, what to do about it. And we might get into a little bit about being internally versus externally driven and motivated, which we just had our mastermind before we jumped onto this episode. So before we get into all that stuff, we're going to jump into plenty of questions. And we've got the junior grandmaster himself is here in the co-pilot seat where he so belongs. Greg McDaniel, what's up today?
Johnson Face, what up, man? So you and I are going to Lost Wages later this week, otherwise pronounced as Las Vegas, to do EXP shareholders event. That's going to be pretty exciting and pretty fun to get to meet and greet a lot of folks who we've met and talked to on the phone and on video, for dozens and dozens of times. But it's one of those things you need to start looking at when you have your goals, where to allocate time versus where you want to spend time, right? So for going to this EXP, event, it's going to be fun. We're going to see and hang out with a lot of people and put faces with names and the whole nine. But is it where we need to be spending our time if we're behind our goals? And the answer is 100% categorically no, because it takes you off of your game. And I think a lot of us, we put fun and excitement above, what we need to be doing. And so I think one of the things I want to step into on this show today, Matt, is talking about where to spend time, where we want to spend time, where we need and should be spending our time. Because like you said, we're Q2 here, the first quarter, 3 months of this year are completely over. Did you or did you not get anywhere close to your goals? Did you reevaluate your goals? Did you compromise your goals? Or did you absolutely smash them and just kick ass and take names? I mean, where are you, in 2018? Matt, and you and I always are never happy with our achievements because we always want to be further ahead than where we are. So naturally, you and I are always like, damn it, we should have done X, Y, and Z. Like you and I had a conversation on Friday. Matt literally picks up the phone, leaves me a voucher, and goes, dude, we're totally blowing it because of blah, blah, blah. Runs down a scenario on how we're totally screwing the pooch. And I'm like, I even responded to him like, damn it, dude, I was having a good day.
That's true. Well, there's always more that we can do. I think what I'm finding out, and I think what a lot of entrepreneurs find out, is that there's less time in the day than your mind thinks there is, right?
Oh,
and there's even more important than how much time there is in the day is how much energy. Because at the level that you and I are at, Greg, and the level where a lot of agents have, where they are the rock star, and every problem that they solve in their business is their own problem to solve. There is no team, right? Even if they have a team, a lot of times the entrepreneur is the one that solves the problem and gives the solution to the team, right? Mm-hmm. And so that we have a limited and finite amount of energy for problem solving and system building and all the heavy duty effort that really pushes the business forward. And I was actually talking to one of my mentors about this, that, like when I was an employee, I could work 8, 9, 10 hours straight, and you just go from phone call to email, emails, and then back to the phone and back to the email, and you just kind of just plow through. It's like when you're an entrepreneur and all that pressure is on you and you're solving problems, it's different.
Right.
Like it's a different type of pressure than being an employee and just sitting there at a desk and just plowing through work for 8 or 9 hours. So I think it's important for us to remember that, like, we tend to bite off more than we can chew.
We do, but you know what? We do that to ourselves. And that's one of the things that we always laugh about. And Matt's always, haranguing me for always wanting to do something new and different and bigger. And I'm always putting more and more things on Matt's plate. Matt has turned around like a pissed off like a little troll baby of his, and just snaps back at me, and goes, God damn it, Greg, I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm like, shut up, Johnson, this is fun. He's like, no, it's not. It's work for me. And I'm like, I know, that's the point. I put more work for you. See, I give you what you want, Matt. I give you more work. But in reality, we do need to take a look at our goals and where we need to be. I know that for me, I sit down every single day and I get my job done. And I work with my clients, consistently about helping them buy and sell homes, on top of doing the show and doing the other shows that we're doing, and all this other stuff, but are you spending time where you want to or where you need to? And hopefully it's not where you want to. Hopefully it is where you want to and where you need to at the exact same time, because if you do what you love, then you're never going to work a day in your life, and there's never going to be like everybody. You know what really pisses me off, Matt, is when people always bah humbug Mondays. Dude, if you fucking have to complain about Mondays, get the fuck out of real estate. Go do something you love. I mean, go be a waitress. I mean, if you want
First
instant
of all, when
gratification.
does real estate start on Monday mornings? I don't know what kind of real estate you're working. Unless you've got a scaled system and a team and you're working listings only, Monday morning is probably the least of your concerns.
Yeah, or work as a whole. And, everyone bah hums Monday is like, oh, back to the grind. It's like, dude, if you don't like it, go do something else, man. Seriously, you get only so many times around the sun, and then kaputs, you're done, man. You're worm food. So might as well be doing something that you like to do.
Thinking back to when I would, dread Mondays, besides now that I have to get up and talk to you, Greg, at 9, 10, and 11 a.m. on Monday mornings. But besides that, back in the day when I was working with somebody else, when I would look at Monday mornings to stare down the barrel of another 5-day, because I allowed you a place of hope, right, where I wasn't doing something outside of those hours to change what my job was. And I just wasn't taking the steps necessary that I was excited about to move on to the next thing. And so I think that's a big part of it, is that we allow ourselves to get into that zone, and then we stay in that zone way too long. I mean, it's emotional resiliency is one of the key traits of being a successful person in general, but definitely being in business. I mean, you have to have the ability to just take the hit. Like, yes, you feel it, but you feel it for a little while, and then you hit the ground and get back rolling. And there's a lot of, I feel like you and I, Greg, run into a lot of agents that are kind of still on the journey to becoming successful. And one of the things that happens to them is they get taken out emotionally for too long by things that should not take them out for that long, taking them months to recover from what should take a couple of days, or a deal falling through, and then it ruins the entire week,
Well, there's a couple of people I know very intimately and have for several years that when they encounter something that's a negative in their life, like if they encounter the loss of a deal, or if something happens along those lines, they just shut down. I mean, they just completely go away. They go back into their shell and they don't come out. And I just do not understand that mentality. I cannot wrap my brain around the idea of just going back into your shell and never fighting for what you want. I mean, you fought for the fact to be in this business, but then when you don't do a good enough job, and it's you that don't do a good enough job to retain these clients, then you blame everybody else and you try to run away and try to do something else. How the fuck does that work? And I was talking to the Grand Master about this individual that he and I were discussing, and I'm like, how does this person not stand up, get up and fight, and move forward? And Terry's like, well, Greg, because this individual got hit so many times, he just said, put the white flag up, I'm done, and I'm out. And I'm like, but why? I mean, what would it take for you not to sit there and fly the white flag, get up and fight, got to figure out a new way to succeed? And because if you lose this doing it this way, then try 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 doing it this way. Keep shifting, keep pivoting, to make it successful. But if you don't consistently do that, then you'll ultimately fail, and then you have to go back and work a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I just don't get it, man. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do not have the emotional resilience to stay strong. And that's where, when setting, goals, or I put them, you can put them as projects or, problems, or you can put them in any other term. I don't like the word goals. Goals get emotionally attached to who you are as a person, your essence. And if you don't meet your goals, then you self-sabotage because, I'm not worthy. I didn't do this. I didn't do that, or whatever it was. But if you have a problem or a project, you can work a problem, you can work a project, and you can figure a way out and around it. So, I mean, Matt, let's talk about you. I know that you've had a great first quarter. Did you get pretty close to your goals that you had set up for Q1 of 18?
Yeah. I mean, so the interesting thing is that I made the mistake on the first one, the very first goal, like it built, we got it released and everything, like it didn't produce the results that we wanted. And I set my goal as the results and not just getting the project done, which was a mistake because it was all new, right? I didn't have any way to really base my performance goal on anything. I should have just based it on getting the project done by a certain time, releasing it, and then watching and observing the results and making adjustments. So I set my goal in the wrong terms, but yeah, we got it done. We got the project done. It was released and all that good stuff. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the other things, I mean, what really, I wasn't happy, I guess, with the way that I set goals for this quarter, because we made all kinds of awesome progress. I mean, we've added people, I'm elbows deep in writing a book and all this stuff. So I've made a lot of progress, and but there were certain things that I had put on the agenda to get done and get launched this year that I didn't really think through how much I was taking on, like all in the same time frame, and then having to go back because the first thing, having to tweak and like give myself time to tweak and adjust and make some adjustments and things. I didn't allow myself that time. So again, it goes back to like really understanding how much time and energy you really have. I mean, it's like I was just talking to one of my mentors the other day, and he's like, "Well, it just sounds like you're still too." I said, "Yeah, it's exactly. Still working on getting things off of my plate and eliminating things that shouldn't be there."
Yeah. Eliminating things that don't need to be in your life is something that I am definitely working on, and I put it all on your plate.
Thank you. But I'll take that right on. Believe me, I will go to your life with a hatchet. Let's do it.
But we're since we are in the very, very beginning of Q2 of 18 right now, as this recording, what in the next 90 days could you accomplish? But I think we overestimate what we can do in 30 days and underestimate what we can do in a year. And like, what is it? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Same thing as with big goals and big dreams, or just any kind of goal. You have to set those daily accountability actions. So if you want to do 3 deals a month, something attainable, right? How do you get that? Well, you have to know your numbers. You have to know your actions. You have to start taking action today. Because if you start doing actions today, in 90 days, at the end of Q2, you'll be primed going into the summer market, or knee deep in the summer market, and you'll be able to start getting the results, because everything you do now is going to be the results are about 90 days out in real estate. Right. Closings, buyers, sellers, and everything else. So if you want to have just an ass kicking, summer month run, like summer season, you need to take action today and relentlessly stick to it every single day that you're going to commit to doing this action or actions. So what is that going to look like? I mean, for us, you and I were building our EXP team. And so, every single day I'm talking about EXP. I'm having conversations with people, joining EXP, because in 90 days, I want to have a X, Y, and Z number of people. At the end of the year, I want to have 100 people on our team that we personally brought on, help them put, 50 people on each one of their teams. We're going to launch the podcasting product for all of our team members that you're working on, so they can create their own platform. All these different moving parts. As we're doing the show right now, I'm talking with Nick over at Rockstar Connect about getting different events set up with them. All these different balls are up in the air. We have to know which ones to prioritize and which ones, if a couple of them do drop on the ground, we have to be okay with those, and we have to understand what they are and what ramifications it's going to have in our life and in our goal setting in our future if a couple of the balls hit the ground. I think we always think that we need to keep every single ball in the air, and at times they don't all have to stay in the air, because they are not prioritized at this time. It doesn't mean it's not a goal you want to achieve. It just means it's not going to happen right now. Yeah. And I struggle with that myself. I want to keep everything going, but sometimes it's not prudent to keep them all going at that time. Yeah. We can pick them up and start juggling again later.
Yep, exactly. Well, yeah, and there's always time. We always want to do things faster, but that doesn't mean that. I think what pushes things forward the most is focus, and that's one of the things that I've learned, over the last couple of years, is just how important and how finite our level of focus is. We think that we can just kind of focus on 5, 10, 15 things, and that we can it's really just a matter of just blocking it in the calendar. And to an extent, that's true, but you really can't, like, especially when you're trying to solve problems and you're trying to build something that isn't like defined yet. It's something where the problem is solved, right? We know how to generate leads in real estate. Pick up the phone, talk to your sphere of influence, do some prospecting, call Fizbos, call expert, whatever, find something that works for you, and then you just do the work, right? Like that problem has been solved. We don't all sit around wondering, like, how in the world do we grow real estate businesses? Like, we know this problem has been solved.
Mm-hmm.
So the issue really for most of us when it comes to agents is just that they're trying to find a way around doing what they know they should be doing, right? Or they haven't found that thing that really works for their personality, so they're struggling to find that thing that works, right? But when you're like in the realm of, like, Greg, you and I are like trying to solve problems, we're trying to build things, we're like hiring people, all this stuff is like unproven, right? Like, there is no model for like what we're doing. There's people that have done things that are similar, and of course we can look to them and we can look to that as an example, but there is no performance model for what we are building, right?
No.
And so it takes some time to solve the problems, and that does require a lot of focus, and you can't have 5 or 10 or 15 things like that you are trying to focus on and split your focus equally, because you just never build that momentum in life.
Right, and Gary Keller wrote a great book, The One Thing, and in that book he talks about having that one thing now that you're going towards, but you have multiple different avenues how to get to that one thing. But whatever that one thing is, he needs to have everything else needs to lead down to that one result. At the end of the day, like, so all the different shows that I'm doing, the shows that Matt's doing, the podcast, the products, the EXP team, all of this stuff funnels down to one thing, financial freedom. Matt and I are working towards financial freedom. We're working towards changing lives with the podcast and with the EXP team. It's all going down to that, our one main goal in life. If we had 5 or 10 things, like you said, Matt, there's no way you could accomplish it all because you're split up. Life would be too chaotic to honestly take on all those different things, because you will burn out. I mean, you will snap. It's just inevitable. And a lot of us say, no, I'll make it. I can do it. Well, glad that you're fucking psychotic, because that's not going to work. And you can try it, and then you're going to freak out, go postal on someone, probably your spouse or your kids or a coworker or a client just rubbed you the wrong way, and now months or years of worth of work have been damaged because you strained yourself too much. Take like Sarah Johnston was on the show and a couple of weeks ago, and she was talking about how she and her boyfriend Darren, they make a concerted effort that every single month they take 4 days off in a row and they go somewhere. And I think that's a really good thing for you guys to really understand, that you taking time off is actually good for your business, not a detriment to your business, because that rejuvenates you and gets you back up and running and keeps you at the optimal running speed. You can't sustain a sprint forever. Cheetahs, the world's fastest animal, can sprint at over 60 miles an hour, but in short bursts. And then they peter out. They got to go rest up. Same thing with business. You can sprint, but you got to rest. How many times have I told the story that, T. Diddy, mi papa, El Grande Master? That's a weird, it's like an Irish, but odd. Spanish. Oh, weird mix.
Something. It's like Irish?
Aspirish.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, he stressed himself out, and he started bleeding from the eyes. One time because he was so stressed. Then another time his retina detached from his eye because of stress levels. He worked by himself. He didn't have a team majority of his career. But if you don't have a team, you need to take time to really take some time to rest up. And that also gives you an opportunity to reflect on your goals. Where are you? Realistically, where are you on your goals? Are you meeting them? Are you beating them? Or are you seriously fucking sucking at them because you're not looking at them on a daily basis? I have this right in front of me. I got my goal book, Now, this thing is from 2014 going into 2015, but my goals still hold true to me. Every single day, I'm taking them, because when it comes down to goals, I have this written right here on the front. It says you have to say it, feel it, see it, socialize it, believe it, and then be it. And I believe that wholeheartedly with goals. You have to do all of those different actions on a daily basis, because you need to get your subconscious mind in tune with your conscious mind so those two can work in unison to achieve what's not in your life now. And when it comes to goal setting and where you are right now, if you see someone that is beating you or achieving more than you or something along those lines, you need to be truly grateful and happy for them, because if you take negativity and you push it out into the universe, it's going to come back to you. Therefore, you only focus on the bad things in life. You'll put a filter in front of your eyes and in front of your actions and emotions that is not going to be the best for you. So you should be thankful and grateful and empowered for these other people, saying, dude, you chick or dude, you go kick ass, take names. I'm super excited for you, because that brings positivity back into your system, which then you can put it in, you can hone it into your next result. Because you can be a different version of you, but you've got to make that conscious step to be that different version, and you have to want it. Yeah. I don't know if a lot of people want the goals, Matt. Here's the thing: I think a lot of people don't want goals. I think they set goals that they think everybody else wants them to have. They don't set the goals they want to have.
Yeah.
And then it becomes, impotent, essentially, because you're like, oh, I want this, I want that, I want this, when in reality, you could give less than a flying fuck about any of that stuff. I was talking with Toby Salgado, Super Agents Live. He's been a friend of mine for a long period of time, and I hit him up, and he and I were chatting, and he's like, dude, you're crushing it, man. I see you out there doing this, this, and this. I'm like, yeah, man, why don't you do it with me? He's like, dude, that's not my goals. That's not my version of success. I would rather, barrel roll out a window and throat punch somebody than having to get up and do speeches. When I'm like, dude, put me in front of a crowd. I'm down to play around, have some fun, interact with him, but it's not his version. He knows his goals, where he wants to be. Like, your goals, Matt. I mean, you want to write a book, and you're actively writing it right now with Pasquale. I mean, how awesome is that? That's not my goal, but it's your goal, and you're taking it by the horns, right?
Right.
And you love it. So
yes, it's a lot of hard work, but it'll be worth it in the end. Sure.
Well,
all right, guys. Yeah. Why don't we shift gears a little bit? We've got a bunch of questions that we can dive into in the last, let's say, 20 minutes here and cover a bunch of these. So let's take one from Valerie. Valerie says, referral wants me to show them a house before talking to a lender. Their excuse is, I don't want to go through the process if I don't like this one house. Greg, how do you handle that objection?
What I would say is well, actually, I did this the other day with a buyer. She's like, hey, I want to go see a house. And I'm like, okay, no problem. This is how I work. The way that I operate is that, all my buyers are pre-approved and pre-qualified before we go out and we start looking at properties. And this is the reason why. If I was to show you this home, and for whatever reason, it might be this much out of your comfort zone on either purchase price or monthly payment, you're going to refer back to that home as a benchmark against anything else. And if we're just that much out of our comfort zone and you aren't able to afford that property either on purchase price or monthly payment, then everything else is going to be tarnished. And I would hate to show you something that you couldn't afford in a comfortable way. Does that make sense to you, ma'am, or sir, or whatever else? Mm-hmm. And you lay it down for them, but you also give them a reason. I mean, who wants to go, if you're going to go car shopping and you go to the Maserati store, and you're like, oh, the Maserati's awesome, but I can't afford it. Then you go to the Honda dealership, and you're like, fuck, I can afford that, but I want the Maserati. Well, you can't, then every time you look at the Honda, you're like, stupid fucking Honda. Hi, Maserati. Stupid fucking Honda. Hi, Maserati. But you're never going to get the Maserati because you didn't put the work in ahead of time with your hard work and goal setting and everything else to afford the Maserati. Mm-hmm. You put the work in to afford the Honda. Now, I'm not knocking Hondas or anything else, but you guys get the analogy here is what I'm saying, is that's what I would do for a buyer when it comes to getting them pre-approved.
Okay. I like it. All right. Let's see. Brian Huber says, I keep hearing a radio ad. I don't know where Brian's based at. He says, I keep hearing a radio ad for Redfin saying they only charge 1% for full service. If a potential client brings this up, how do you handle it? And there was another kind of a similar question. Jared, he would ask, went on a listing appointment and I'm up against an agent who cut his commission to 0.5%. What's the bet? Like, holy cow, guys. What do you say in the face of, like, those are a couple of different but very similar situations. So what say you, Greg?
First, get the name and address of the douchebag who cut his commission to 0.5% and drive over and throat punch his bitch ass. That's step one.
Don't worry. It'll be easy to find because it'll be in the mobile home park.
I almost made me spit out my water.
Be the wrapped. I mean, it's not going to be the wrapped vehicle in front of the mansion. We know that.
No. But no, so this is what you can answer back with them, and you can, because you need to make sure that you want the client, guys. If they're going to nickel and dime you from the very beginning, then they're going to nickel and dime your ass through the entire process.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
so this
is the first one to ask you to like chip in on the commission when something goes wrong during the negotiation process, or there's a repair, or the buyer doesn't want to pay for something, or yada yada yada.
Yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit is what it really is. But, people, this is what they're going to ask for. So you need to put them in check a little bit and say, well, Mr. and Mrs., I'm assuming this is the sellers. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what kind of agent are you looking for? Are you looking for the cheapest agent you can possibly get, or are you looking for the most qualified? And then shut up and let them talk. If they say they want the cheapest, say, okay, then I'm probably not your bet. I'm probably not the right agent for you. Because if you want someone who's going to discount themselves and cut their own commission, take money out of their own pocket and out of their food out of their own kids' mouths right off the bat, how do you know they're going to negotiate for you when it comes time for getting the most for your home or getting the best terms on your request for repairs? Because they've already slashed their own throat. And just let that kind of sit there and let them think about it. And if they opt that that's what they're truly looking for, pat them on the butt, wish them luck, get the fuck out of that house, and go find someone who's going to pay you for what you're worth. Do not discount yourself. I mean, being competitive, that's one thing. Slashing your own throat, that's a completely different story. I mean, if we go from, 5%, it's pretty standard to do 5% here in our marketplace. If we go from 5% to 4.5% total, okay, that's 4.25% instead of 4.5%, out of the gate. That's 2.25 to each side. I'm missing a quarter of a percentage point to get the deal done and win the listing. I'll do that all day long. But I'm not going to be 3% total. Fuck that, dude. No. See you later. I've walked away from deals when people ask me to cut my commissions. But I've also stood my ground when I'm working with people. And you need to inform buyers, because I did this the other day, that buyers, they don't pay you. The seller's paying you out of their proceeds, and they don't have to pay you. I told this lady that. She's like, well, how much is your commission? I'm like, for you? Free. She's like, what? I'm like, for you, when I work with you as a buyer's agent, I'm 100% free. I won't charge you a single dime. You won't? I'm like, nope, because the seller's paying me. I'm not going to charge you a dime, ma'am. Yeah. And she was pumped. She was really pumped.
Versus Australia, which we found this out from our buddy Glenn Twiddle. You don't want to talk about justifying your commission. Buyer's agents, they have to charge their clients the commission to represent them on that side of the transaction.
Yeah.
So you better, like they actually literally have to justify what they're going to save the buyer because that buyer is paying for you out of their pocket. Mm-hmm. Paul Franklin says, once you move the line, it's only easier to keep moving it and move it further. That is very true. Yeah. Once you give in and you make a concession on the commission, it's a lot easier to get pushed into making more concessions. So that's why I've always liked the idea. Mike LaFido and a bunch of other guys that kind of run in the Dan Kennedy, Glazer Kennedy insider circle world. Have like commission packages, right? So you kind of link the level to a certain commission rate, right? So if you would like, hey, like if your area is a standard 7% commission, like it is in the Midwest, or at least it's 6 or 7, you can have a 6% commission package. You can have a 7% super deluxe marketing, package. You could even have an 8%. We'll help you move, complete moving concierge package, with our moving truck and whatever for an 8%. But I think sellers need to understand that, hey, we are footing the bill for all of your marketing. Now, if you're an agent that doesn't do any marketing, first of all, smack yourself on the back of the head and let's do our job here. But if you actually are going to do some marketing on the home and you're going to get out there and hoof it and knock on doors and you're going to do open houses and you're going to invite people and you're going to call people and you're going to run ads and you're going to run Facebook ads and you're going to do all this stuff, and the level of marketing, the level of service they're going to get needs to be tied to their commission that they're paying in a meaningful way. And I think either commission packages are a great way to do it, or when they ask you to make a concession, you can say something like, great, I'm happy to do that. Let's look at the marketing plan and let's look at some of the things that we could potentially take out in exchange for a reduced commission. And just bam, put it right back on them on, hey, how would you like me to not market your home in relation to paying me less? So I've always been a fan of that too.
You know what? I've never tried that, and it'd be interesting just to try, like come over with a different, commission breakdown, and be okay. So you want to pay the least amount in commission? No problem. We can do the whole thing for 4.5. This is what you get: the DIY. You're gonna door knock. You're gonna do your own calls. We'll do the open house, and then you'll have to put up the open house signs, and we'll do it for 4.5%. What do you think about that? They'd be like, oh God, no. Okay, so this is what you get for 5. This is what you get for 6. I mean, we don't go over 6 here. And just say, okay, if you do it for 6% total, 3 and 3, this is what you'll get, and just laundry list of awesomeness, and just see how that happens. Like to Terry, me Papa, P Diddy, or T Diddy, I might say, the Grandmaster. We're going out on a second CMA today. I'm not going to do it for this guy because we have a past relationship with him. We've known his ex-wife 2 X's ago. Yeah. Sounds thanks so many questions.
We knew his ex-wife. Oh man, I love it.
But you know what? Terry talked to him, and the guy's on board for having us come on out and do his listing. I mean, I have no problem doing it for 5%. I mean, that's what we standardly do, and what I offer a lot of times, if for our team is like, you know what? If our team, McDaniel Callahan team, sells the home, we'll do it for 4% total. If we bring the buyer and the seller, otherwise it's 5%, because I'll almost double my money if I bring the buyer in for 4. They get to save a percentage. Everybody wins in this whole plan. Yep. And then they can say they only got charged 4%. They can brag to their friends. Great. That means our word gets out, but then we lay down the terms of that agreement so that they understand it. And I'm really clear about that when I talk to people. I'm like, if the McDaniel Callahan team, one of these 6 people brings in the buyer, we do it for 4. Anyone else on planet Earth, 5%. Yep. And they're like, okay, because they only hear 4, guys. They only hear 4%. Yeah. But they understand it could be 5 as well. So that's how I would handle the commission question right off the bat.
Yeah, I like it. All right, this is an interesting one. Leona says, it's super easy for me to connect and set appointments with Fizbos, but with expireds, I crash and burn. What do I need to adjust? Greg, that's an interesting one because it's purely mindset. If you can pick up the phone and talk to a for sale by owner, so it's not really an issue with outbound phone prospecting. It's not an issue with the ability to pick up the phone and talk to people. I guess none of those typical things that hold people back from making calls in general. It's an expired versus Fizbo thing. So what do you think that is?
I have no clue. I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all, really. She should be able to go crush it on either side. But I think it is a mindset thing. But it's also the mindset of the person you're talking to. The expireds, they're grumpy pants already because they're expired. They didn't get their job. Their job didn't get done. Therefore, they don't like big fan of agents. So it could be the negativity there. Fizbos are a little bit happier. They're like optimistic they can get it done. Little bunny of energy right there, just bouncing all over the place. So I think it could be just the mindset of the person she's talking to. Maybe just understanding the fact that people, when you talk to them and they're expireds, they're grumpy. They have a right to be grumpy. Their agent didn't do the job that they were hired to do. Well, sometimes. I mean, sometimes the client's a pain in the ass or didn't listen to advice, or we've had those happen a lot as well. But if let's say that they did do their job and the client did follow the agent's suggestions, but the agent bought the listing, aka they gave an unrealistic number on the list price, therefore it sat on the market, therefore it didn't showings, it didn't get sold, then the client's pissed at the agent, but ultimately it's the agent's fault.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, when we take a listing that won't sell, ultimately it still comes down to our responsibility, right? So, so I think it's definitely a mindset and an expectations thing. Because if she's crashing and burning real fast, to me that tells me obviously there's not a lot of calls going on, so there's probably a pretty limited, set of data that we're going off of to even determine that she's crashing and burning. So I think it has to do with her expectation of what the calls are going to be like rather than what the calls are actually like.
Yeah.
Been a while, but I've made enough expired calls to know that they're not all grumpy, and even when they're initially grumpy, some people are just nice. Some people are just kind of, they're frustrated with the agent, but they don't take it out on you. It's, believe me, not everything is making calls into Brooklyn. And trying to, saying like there are some tough markets. Aaron Wittenstein in upstate, not in upstate, but in suburban New York and White Plains. That is a tough market. And he has the razor sharp, the shortest communication style that I have run across. I mean, even more so. I mean, Greg, you and I talked to some super high D, type A, fast moving, high energy people. Nobody talks and compresses more into fewer words than Aaron Wittenstein. And that's because he's adapted to tough expired market. But most markets like that around the country are not at that level, right? And so I think there just may be an expectations that's a little bit out of line, and she's kind of blowing it up in her head probably more than it is actually in real life. That's my guess. Unless she's in a very tough market and she just doesn't have the high D personality to handle that and think quick enough and meet people where they're at, which that's both a skill that can be developed, but it's also something that for those that are already high D comes a little bit more naturally if your personality bends that way anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you and I are high Ds, and we want to bullet point it. Let's get to the fucking point. Yes. I do not need to hear the backstory.
I have jumped off of multiple calls with you in the last couple of months, Greg, when we were on with somebody else, and I'll just message you. I'm like, this is the dumbest conversation I've ever been in. I'm leaving. Cover for me. And you're like, all right, I'll make up an excuse.
So true. It's so true.
Here's an interesting one. This is from Brock Owens. Brock says, if they're on the same budget, what has a better ROI, Zillow or Boomtown? That's an interesting question, and it's phrased. The phrasing is interesting, but I just want to address the overall question: Zillow versus Boomtown, because here's the thing: is nothing is ever always equal, right? Whether it's the ROI, whether it's the amount, like the budget, or whatever the case is, because if you put the same budget into Zillow, my impression from talking to a lot of the top teams around the country is the cost per lead will be higher, but the conversion of that lead is also higher. And that's assuming you put them through the same process. Like you're picking up the phone, you're calling back people, waiting for 3 days to call them. Like you're doing what you should be doing on the leads. I especially have heard on the East Coast, in certain areas of the East Coast, I mean, there's entire teams or brokerages that they love Zillow leads to death, and they're willing to spend much more per lead from Zillow than they would ever dream of spending on a Boomtown or any other type of Google pay-per-click or Facebook lead. And so the thing is that hard to give a definitive answer, but I mean, the best definitive answer is to test it. And the other definitive answer is to do exactly what Jeff Cohn does, which is if you're a single agent, don't mess with it at all. Focus on your sphere and focus on prospecting, and don't start getting into the online lead gen game until or unless you have a team that can work those leads, and then you hold that team accountable. So Jeff and I just did an episode on this. I think it was last week. So it's probably coming out this week. So by the time you guys hear this on a podcast, you can go find it. It's an episode of the Team Building Podcast. I think it was on lead conversion and online lead generation. So check that out when you get a chance. That's my 2 cents on that issue. Greg, you guys have experimented with a bunch of stuff. I mean, you've worked with pretty much every lead provider, lead generation company under the sun over the last 20 years. What's your impression?
I would honestly say that I think you're your best lead generator, and I think you should stop looking at third-party lead generation systems as your holy grail of what's going to make it rain. You going out with your business cards, introducing yourself, getting out in the public, going door knocking, going to different businesses, meeting the people, asking for business, creating relationships, I think is your best lead generator. I don't have opinions on which one is the best because they're all bullshit in my personal mind. In the way I view things. The only one that I've found to be somewhat good, a guy, his name is Gus, he's helping me do lead gen for buyers right now. It's legitimately the best I've ever seen. We're just refining it. It's not cheap. I'll put it to you right now. It's several $1,000s a month. But you get high quality buyers that are looking to do something sooner than later. And so if you're looking just to create lead sources so you can either attract or retain talent onto your team or build a team, and not everyone should build a team, by the way. I have a friend of mine, he's leaving his team and he's coming to our EXP team because the person who's leading his team epically sucks at leading a team. I mean, this person should not be, she shouldn't be leading a pack of dogs, man. It's all about her. All about her, and she takes all the revenue. She takes all the leads. She takes everything from her team members and gives nothing in return. That's a person you shouldn't be around at all. But I mean, no, not good at all. And that's one of the things there. I mean, work your sphere of influence. Guys, do this. If you have a question about lead gen, go to Hank Avick, go to 36 to Life, take the class, show you how to work your sphere of influence in social media, working your 50, your 20, your 5, and your 1. Those are your conversations and interactions with people on a daily basis, which that takes a lot of fucking work, by the way. It's not easy to do. You got to actually block out time for this. But then, you can either pay $300 and take the class, or just join our EXP team and you get it for $36. It's really up to you. But take the course, and then you understand how you can play on Facebook, legitimately get paid to do it, and work the people that work the relationship aspect of the business, not just the hardcore transaction side of the business, which is, I think, what, Matt, we're talking about here with lead generation. That's just a transactional mindset, not a relationship-based mindset.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, Jeff, he started doing business. He started going out and talking to people and getting them to give them referrals right off the bat. We've had several people on our show that talk about, James Colburn, he talked about, he'd go to his clients and he would just tell them every time he's in a deal, he'd just be like, I'm putting you down for 2. Mm-hmm. And the person's like, what? He's like, I'm putting you down for 2 this year. 2. And what's 2? 2 referrals. But James, I don't know anyone I can refer you. I know. 2. Thank you. And damned if they didn't show up and give them 2 referrals. So, have you ever decided, maybe you're at a business, a marketing meeting or a networking meeting, or you're with a past client, or having coffee with a friend, and just tell me, I'm putting you down for 1 this year, guys. I'm just putting you down for 1. What if you could have 50 to 100 coffees or lunches or something like that, and then just tell them, I'm putting you down for 1 this year. Get their mind thinking. What if you could get people going, pick up the phone and be like, hi, Greg? Yes. Hey, Matt, what's up, dude? Hey, man, remember we had coffee the other day? Yeah. Well, you got me thinking. And my sister mentioned she wanted to buy some investment property. Would you mind working with her? Not at all. But it's all because you prepped them and primed them to think for you and keep their eyeballs peeled for you. It's like when you want to see a red car, all of a sudden you see red cars everywhere. Well, it's because you primed your brain to see red cars.
Right.
Yeah, those are my 2 cents. Very long and drawn out 2 cents, but those are my 2 cents.
That was a little bit more than 2 cents, but I appreciate it. All right, guys. So make sure to check out erslivestream.com. Speaking of Jeff Cohn, that is our buddy Jeff's is an internal team training that is open to the public for a very small nominal fee of $17. It's ridiculously low per month. Mm-hmm. You get access to super, super high def, high quality audio and video training. They essentially, from their 50,000 square foot office in Omaha, they broadcast their live trainings 2 days a week. And so you can jump on that and be part of them with that. Just go to erslivestream.com. And then Greg and I are actually speaking at Jeff Cohn's event, the Team Building Summit, here coming up the first week of May. And so you can check that out at theteambuildingsummit.com. You can get your tickets and get your flights into beautiful and scenic Omaha, Nebraska, where I am privileged to be from. And so that is that. Or
Matt, don't you mean April?
Handicapped? Oh, wait, Abel? What now?
Weren't we speaking in Omaha next week?
Is it next week? No.
Mm-hmm.
May 8th through the 10th.
I have it on April.
Well, then you are incorrect, sir. Hopefully you didn't book your flights. Greg's going to Omaha, and he's got nothing to do.
Please, I'm out!
That's right. He's going to be wandering around all the outdoor malls in Nebraska going, why did they build an outdoor mall here? It sucks 9 months out of the year. And then the rest of us will go, thank you. We were wondering the same thing. All right.
Dyslexic builders doing shit backwards.
Now, getting back to the whole live stream thing. So, guys, if you want free access to that, that's actually provided. We have struck a deal with Jeff to provide that to all of the people that align with us on our team. And so that's coming to us. So you guys can get on call here at McDaniel Real Estate Systems, where you get all of our system training, support, products, programs that we've ever created or ever may create. You get access to all of that. Like you said, you get 36 to Life, the program with Hank Avink. You get that for like essentially an admin fee that just covers the cost of getting you access and stuff like that. It's like $36 flat. That's a month-long program to get you started and hit the ground running. And then you get access to our signature courses, Rockstar Conversations, which includes Get Now Business, Rockstar Prospecting. You get all the farming stuff. You get the new Agent Launchpad that's in there. We're putting all of our door knocking stuff in there. So all that stuff is, you get immediate access to that as soon as you commit to joining. So, Greg, where do they go to book a call and learn more?
Right what it says on your cool little screen. BookMcDaniel.com, guys. Go book 30 minutes with me. Let's see if you're the right agent to join our team, and if we're the right team for you to join. You know, it's a mutual. We got to make sure that we all like each other on this thing, and we're all going to be the most, the best fit for each other, because it's going to be like a marriage. We're going to be in this thing for a long period of time. I want to help you guys grow. I want to help see you guys thrive. I don't want to see you guys just exist. I want to really help you guys thrive in the real estate business, so that you guys can live the life of your dreams. I mean, why would we not want to invest a lot of time? Like Matt, today we did our first mastermind. Well, we do our masterminds every Monday, but we did our first, Q&A, live Q&A. Had a couple of, guys and gals on there having a good time, kind of chatting and, chewing the fat together and answering questions. And, you guys get access to that too. So, there's just a lot of stuff, guys. So if you guys feel that you'd be a good fit for us and we'd be a good fit for you, go to bookmcdaniel.com. Legitimately book some time, guys. It's simple. Find a time that works for you. Let's chit chat about EXP. It's a rock star. It's going to be a good time, guys. Matt and I are going to invest a lot of time and energy into you so that you guys succeed, because we're going to do all the training for you too. So you bring people on, we'll help them close them, and then we can help train them. And then that puts you guys more money in your pocket. It also, it allows you, frees up your time so you guys can go do what you want to do, aka sell real estate. Funny how that works. So yeah, go to bookmcdaniel.com and book some time, guys. I would love to talk with you.
Right. All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it for today. Keep this one a little bit on the short side. Make sure to subscribe to the show, YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher. You can go to McDanielRealEstateSystems.com, catch up on all the stuff we're doing there. And then make sure to join the Lead Gen Description Objections Facebook group if you're not already a part of it. The show broadcasts right into the group, and we take a lot of our questions. We keep an eye on that group and interact and engage with you there as well. That's run by a good friend of ours, Aaron Wittenstein. And then, yeah, I think we've covered everything that we needed to cover. We got some questions answered, had a little bit of fun, and let's put a bow on this one.
What color bow, Matt?
A pink bow. For some reason, you like putting a pink bow on the show. I have no real allegiance. I guess it's a cancer awareness bow that we're tying around the show.
I just like making you say pink bow. That's just my sick pleasures.
All right, yeah, we're done with that. No more.
All right,
we're putting a nice black and gray bow on this. It's a bow tie. We're putting a bow tie on the show.
All right, guys. Hey, we love you. We obviously have a blast doing this stuff. That's why we've been doing it for over 3 years. Share this out with people so that they know where to come find us. Give us a review on iTunes. 5 stars only. I see it's a double 5 star right there. Give us a 10-star. That's what it is. Dyslexia kicking in. But keep hanging out with us as Matt loses his shit on the other end of this video.
Give us a 5-star review. Hold up. All right, guys. We got to be done.
All right, guys. Love you to pieces. Remember, bookmcdaniel.com. And as always, guys, peace out, ninjas. We gone.